Welcome to another episode of the Falling for Learning podcast. This is a live episode that I'm doing. I haven't done a solo episode in a very long time, and I'm so glad that you are joining me today for this special episode that where I'm really going to be focusing on reflection, resilience, and celebrating wins. So, I recently got the news that I have renewed my national board certification. I am a national board certified teacher, and my certification actually um, would have expired on December 31st, 2025, but I had 2 years to renew it, and last school year I renewed it. Now, this was very challenging for me because, like I said, we have 2 years to renew that national board certification. And the first school year that I worked on it was the 23-24 school year. And I actually had to discontinue due to the fact that I had to take my um, I had to take a medical leave based on something that happened at the school site. So I ended up having to take a medical leave. And guess what? I forgot my headphones. So I don't know if this is going to make you hear me better or what. I have no idea. But let me put my headphones on, okay? This is the beauty of going live. We just keep it rolling. So anyway, so as a result of that, I had to go on medical leave and had to discontinue my journey for national board certification for that 23-24 school year. And so since then, I had the 24-25 school year. I was in a new setting and a new position and all of that. And so I had to do it. And then, there were really no redos because, this result just came in last night. And of course, my certification expires December 31st, 2025 if I had not renewed. And of course, I've renewed and it is good until 2030. Now, what I have to do the maintenance of certification is I have to turn in a video. I have to turn in a lesson and talk about different accomplishments that I've had over, like throughout the school year. So I wanted to make sure that I did well on that. It's part of, just making sure you have that professional accolade, but also it is connected to a pay raise. And while I do not just teach for money, obviously we've got to pay the bills, right? And so getting paid what we're worth is what we need to do. And of course, it doesn't necessarily pay everything that you're worth, but it is a step in the right direction. So you want to get all the coins that you can get when it comes to, you trying to take care of your family and take care of your household and all that kind of stuff. And of course, it's something that I love to do is to teach. So I am sharing this with you, because taking it back to what we're talking about on the Falling for Learning podcast is how to get our children on track for learning and to stay on track for success. Our personal wins are part of keeping our kids on track for success. Now, as I just shared with you, during this path to successful certification, I had some setbacks. And those are kinds of things that you could share with your kids. Now, notice I didn't give you all the gritty details of what those challenges were. But obviously, I had to stop, and then I only had a limited time to get it done after that. You have to think about, have some discernment. Is your child ready to hear this or should they be hearing this? Whatever. But you could give them some overview of what your challenges were. But it is important for your kids to know that as they are going towards their goals and their dreams, making them into reality, that they are going to encounter some issues. Okay. And then helping, you being that help to guide them through that. And actually, what you say again is very helpful, but also what you do, what they see you doing is most helpful, right? Because you're modeling for them. This was a challenge for me. This is what happened. And this is how I have moved forward even with the challenges that I was, having. So, again, that is very important to help with your child. I also want to say is taking time to celebrate your wins. Now, as your kids are progressing and getting better and better and older, and you're helping them navigate all of these ups and downs of growing up and all of that, they are going to have some wins. But of course, the wins aren't going to stop there. But what you need to do is make sure you stop and celebrate those wins. It is very easy for you to be on to the next, right? Okay, oh, you did that. Okay, so now what else are we going to do next? But actually taking time to celebrate your win is going to help support your child in their growth overall. And so you are going to be modeling that for your kid as well. I, got my national board certification renewed, and I'm taking time to reflect and celebrate on that and just to rest in that victory for just a moment. I do have other things that I'm pursuing and I'm doing, but today I'm giving myself some time to relax and to celebrate because my wins are important. And let me tell you something else. Your wins are so important when you're going through that next goal because it's very easy to forget what you've been through and to doubt yourself and to say, I don't know if I could do this. I don't think I could get through it. Maybe I'm not good enough. Whatever bad things that we say to ourselves or our kids may say to ourselves, taking time, if you have taken time to actually celebrate yourself and reflect on what you did well and to talk about and really restore yourself, right? From all those setbacks you had, then that's able to fuel you forward as you are in that next challenge, that next trial and tribulation. You could remember, okay, I had a setback before with my national board, and now that I'm doing this, I did. I need to remember that I can do hard things, that I am amazing, that I did accomplish things that maybe people didn't think that I could do or that I didn't feel like I could do. I was worried about it not working out before, and it did work out. And so reminding yourself of that win, celebrating those wins are going to help propel you to that next goal, whatever that may be. So, modeling that for your kids is so important. Do they see you celebrating your wins and celebrating yourself and your success? And then going on to that next one and using all of those lessons you learned as you had the setbacks, as you had the challenges, as you had those moments where you were thinking, I'm not going to make it. I don't know if I'm good enough. I don't know if I can do this. And then you actually were victorious through that. It's going to help remind you that yes, you are able to make it and you're able to make it through. So, challenging yourself to do hard things and then looking back and reflecting on what went well, what didn't go so well, what lessons did we learn. Talking to your kids about those lessons that you learned, talking to your kids about, what they may encounter and then how they might think about and approach a problem. Even mindset is so important, right? Because we do give ourselves lots of negative messages. And let's be honest, there's a lot of people out there that are giving us negative messages. They're telling us, that's probably really difficult for you to do. When I initially was starting to pursue my national board certification and I had some setbacks, there was a lot. It took me 3 times to complete it. This is back when everybody turned in everything all at once. And it took me 3 different tries to get it done, 3 years, 3 school years. And I was really feeling hard, down on myself, and I didn't feel like I was gonna make it. And but I just kept persevering because I believed that I could do it. And I believed that I was learning and getting better through the process. So I continued. And so I think it's really important that, I could look back on that and people would say, and I would ask them for advice, like, it's real hard. It's real hard. It's real difficult, is some of the messages I heard. And I don't know what they were trying to say, you know, but what I got from that is that it's hard for me. Now, these people that I was talking to already had achieved it, and their advice started and stopped with it was difficult. So I think it was code for like, maybe you're not able to do it. Maybe you're not smart enough. And again, they didn't say any of that. But again, that's when we're going through things. A lot of times we hear negative messages, and people may not even say anything directly negative to you. Now, that totally could have been their mindset, but it may not have been. Obviously, like I said, they did not say it, but that is what I was hearing. But that did not deter me from working on my goal and moving forward in the process, right? Um, but again, it was what I was hearing. It is some of what I was saying to myself. And again, talking your kids through this process of what you think about yourself and what you're saying to yourself and these negative feelings that you're saying to yourself and how to shift that and think about positive and say positive things to yourself is really important. Oh, did somebody in the chat? No. There's just like this Riverside thing where they're like, this is where you could make talk type of message. But anyway, yeah, it's so important for you to like really go through your process and help your process be as public as possible for your child. Public for your child. Now, if you know what I'm talking about, if you've had some setbacks, and who hasn't, that you feel like you could share with your kid, or maybe you thought you shouldn't share with your child, then I think you need to put it in the chat. We could talk about it. But I think it's very important for us to just really reflect on all the things we've been through and what we can share for our kids, what's going to be a great lesson for your child, and possibly help them to avoid some of these issues that you've gone through. But because we want so much more than our for our kids than we've had, we want to make sure that we set the conditions in place for them to be successful. And that has to do with letting them know that there are going to be challenges and that you've been through challenges and that they can, just like you have, overcome those challenges, work through the challenges, find solutions to those challenges. And the more that you could do that, the earlier you could do that, the more regularly they're going to see those challenges, encounter those challenges, and their mindset will be shifted in a positive direction, even though at the time you were saying all these negative things to yourself, negative self talk, they're able to say positive self talk. Like, this is just a normal part of the process of me earning my fill in the blank, whatever it is that they're working towards, their degree, they're trying to start up a business, they are, navigating some kind of problem that they're having. Now they're in the career that they want, but they're having some problem. How do they navigate it? How do they get through it? And not to feel like, at some point I used to feel like, why me? Like, why am I going through this? This is so unfair. And I'm not saying it's not fair, that it is fair, but what I'm saying is dwelling on why is it happening to you instead of like how I could navigate through this is important to have a shift, right? So the actions that you take rather than kind of wallowing in that negative space is important, right? To put yourself towards the possibilities, right? Instead of the hindrances, the things that are stopping you or going to prevent you from going to that next level. Yeah. So, again, I'm celebrating my win that I did pass my maintenance of certification for national board certified teachers. I've been a national board certified teacher since 2015, and it is something I'm very proud of, something I've also worked very hard to do. And, it is part of my testament that I am a teacher that loves what I do, and also if am a gifted teacher who was, part of my life's purpose was to be a teacher, right? So I have been teaching since I was 9 years old. I taught my sister to read, and I've been tutoring kids in my church. I grew up in Fairbanks, Alaska, and I was grew up teaching kids, tutoring kids in reading. And as I was just reflecting on my win of, renewing my national board certification, I also was just thinking about, like, oh wow, my journey and what I've been through. So all these years, that is just a part of my life story, is that, I taught my sister to read when I was 9, right before I went into the fourth grade. But I actually, even though work with kids all day, for several years now, I had never looked at a kid at the end of their third grade year, or looked at a fourth grader, right? And said, oh, I was that age when I taught someone to read. I never actually put those two things together. I know that that's my story, but I never looked at my fourth graders, the kids at the end of the third grade, right? Because I taught my sister to read between my third grade and my fourth grade year. That summer, like maybe that spring before the school year ended, a little bit before the school year ended, to that summer before I started fourth grade. And I just never thought about those two things together, right? Like the age that I was, how young I was, and then just how much of that is like a manifestation of like the gift that God gave me, right? Um, and just what, me having a purpose and finding a purpose so early on in my life. And I really did try, like, looked at different careers and stuff like that too, even though I've been doing this for such a long time, right? And grew up like tutoring kids. But it's just interesting. I just never thought about it from that perspective. I never thought about kids doing it. I just thought about that. I just know that I did that, but I didn't even think about like what average third graders and fourth graders do, and then how different and unique that is. And again, celebrating wins, really bolstering yourself and really being clear about who you are and what you do. And then as I am reflecting on myself and looking at positive things that I've done and the legacy that I've built in helping others and helping people to read, and following my purpose, I think it's very important that you think about what are those gifts that you have, what are those extraordinary things that you have done, and how you can share that with your kids. And also point out those things that you see them doing, that uncanny ability to do something very well, the personality traits that they have that are going to for sure carry them through when things are rough, and when things are seem to be too bleak to work out in their favor. I really want you to really talk about what you have that has really sustained you, and then help them to point out things about them that are going to help them sustain, because those are the things that are going to get our kids on track for learning. The things that you can't just go to school to learn, that you kind of have naturally, that you can continue to nurture, but you also have that in the fiber of your being about who you are. So I'm in my year 3 of my Falling for Learning podcast. I am going to have many speaking engagements coming up, and I am going to talk briefly about the next stage. Again, we want to celebrate our talents. We want to celebrate the great things that we have done. We want to celebrate our wins. We want to reflect. So, just to put things in perspective, I turned in my portfolio, my maintenance of certification, paperwork and video and all that kind of stuff. I turned that in mid-May. I think May 17th was the actual date. And then um, we did not get a response or anything until December 6th. So, of course, I've been working on other things. And my next huge project that is like very, very personal, something that I've been working on for decades, and of course, not working on for decades as well. Because it's not like I just been working on it consistently. Of course, there's some starts and a lot of stops along the way. But I have a novel coming out called Little Mobile Home on the Tundra. As I shared earlier in this episode, is that I have grown up in Alaska. And so this story is about growing up in Alaska. This story is about generational healing. This story is about really doing the work to change because there's many of us out there. Many of us have done this. We have moved locations so that we could have a better life, so that we could have escape some problems, trauma, relationships, whatever, in another place, right? Only to find when you get to your new location that you have some of the same problems that you had wherever you came from. And so this is what one of the main things about this story is that this family moves to Alaska, and it's a novel, it's nonfiction. I mean, it's fiction. Some of the events are based on real things, and some of them are not. And because it's a novel, I have that cloak of anonymity. We don't know what's real, what's not real. Um, but it's really about healing. It's about generational healing and how you put in the work to make a difference in your life and not just relocate. Because relocating is not going to solve your problems, it's just not. Because what people find is if you get in fights in Los Angeles, you could get in fights in Alaska. If you're doing drugs in uh, Texas, you can do drugs in Australia or wherever it is that you go. You can't just move and solve your problems. You actually have to put in some work. And it also just really gets into the nitty gritty about how these characters heal. They work together to heal. There's a lot of family fractures, friction, all the things, and how they work through it. So I'm very, very proud of this piece that I'm working on. It's kind of like when people say like it's my life savings. It's like my life's work. One of my life's work. I have lots of life works. Um, yeah. So of course I was put on this world to be a teacher, but I was also put in this world to be a writer. So those are two like things that are inextricable to who I am. I'm a writer and I'm a teacher. And I hope if you have not gotten your copy, you will get it. I have messaged certain people that I know. I was doing a pre sale, but now, we also are going to have we have like several people that have book clubs, and you can have a discount for buying it in bulk. For a 10 books you can get a nice discount, and of course I'll put the link so that you can take a look, and it'll be available soon. It'll be coming out in this month. I was like in December because I started my pre-sales in November. So I was like, it's coming out next month, but we're in December, so it's coming out this month. Okay. Well, I hope that you have a great rest of your weekend and you do something today that is going to give your kid the competitive advantage, whether that's telling them about what setbacks you had, modeling for them how to celebrate their wins and how to reflect on their next stage of progress. Thank you again for joining me.